Sam. This is Adrian. I just saw your video about um, emotional effects of tea and your questions about how that's affected people. Um, and I just wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, congratulations on being close to making a decision. It's exciting to be at that point. I remember when I was at that point, and it was I think I was coming from a very similar place. I was really I identified very much as genderqueer, as I still do, and I also identified as a person who's pretty emotionally complex, and I was scared, like, starting tea, am I going to lose that? Um, and I've found really that, I mean, there have been emotional changes in general, but I don't feel like I have the same range of emotions, essentially. I think there's a couple things that are different, some of which are way easier to deal with. Like, I feel like I worry a lot less, which isn't to say that worries don't come up. It's just more like they don't stay with me and eat at me in the way that they used to. So that's a definite positive change. Um, and I don't cry as much, which is actually something I was worried about because I kind of see myself as somebody who cries at things, and I didn't want to not be able to. But I definitely still cry. I cry less often. It takes a little bit more to make me cry, but I still do it. And what's actually good is that I don't, when like I used to have times where I would start crying and not be able to stop, essentially, and it doesn't happen so much anymore. Like, there are times where it's really intense depending on what's going on, but um, it doesn't kind of knock me over in the way that it used to, which is a nice change as well. Let's see. I think one of my fears about going on T um, was sort of career related for me. I was in the middle of social work school when I started T. I've been on about 14 months. And I was in the middle of social work school, so I was going to be really learning how to work with clients for the first time. And I was like, okay, is this going to make me less emotional and less able to be empathetic to people? And is that going to totally screw me over for the kind of work that I want to do? And I've really found that that's not true at all, for me at least. I think, if anything, tea has made me more confident, and and I think in terms of the work I was doing, it made me less focused on, oh my god, is what I'm doing right? Am I saying the right thing? And more focused on the person who was in front of me. But the empathy, I don't think the empathy suffered, which is really, really good. Um, I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff about testosterone and like stereotypical stuff about what it means to be, have your body dominated by testosterone. That's really, really. I mean, I think there are obviously biological effects, but I think there's also so much about it that's societal and cultural, and like, if you believe that you're on this thing that's gonna make you emotionally dead inside, you might be emotionally dead inside. But I don't think that most men actually are genuinely emotionally dead. I think that a lot of men are taught to be, and so that can be a problem. But I don't know. My biological and emotional experience of tea has not been that it makes me um, a person who's not emotionally complex um, and not still the sensitive person that I've felt myself to be. I mean, I think there are times where I'm a little less patient with people, maybe, but I'm still pretty patient. So, all in all, not so bad. Um, anyway, I think that's probably those are probably the main issues that I wanted to discuss. But I did want to also add that um, I think it's really good that you're asking around, and you're also allowing yourself a little bit of ambivalence. And I think for me, when deciding to go on T, that was really important to have space to explore that ambivalence, because I think there's so much of this idea that you have to be 100% sure, and you don't. I mean, I think we're almost never 100% sure of anything, and it's even when you're sure, it's really big change, and you're kind of walking into the unknown, and chances are it's unknown that will be good. And if it's unknown that really doesn't feel good to you, you don't have to keep doing it forever. Um, I've found it pleasantly surprising how it's actually, I feel like it's made my life easier. But I remember, even like emotionally easier. I mean, but I remember right like a week or two before I started going, oh my god, am I gonna recognize myself? Am I gonna become this person I don't really know? And I think I recognize myself more, and I don't just mean that in terms of physical things. I think I mean it in terms of emotional things too. Which isn't to say that who I was before was not a perfectly worthwhile person, but I think to it was harder to be um, as intensely emotional as I was before. I think there's still a value in being that intensely emotional, but I'm learning to value, you know, not having to, you know, be bowled over by emotion all the time, but still having quite a bit of it, and appreciating it when it is around. So I hope that's helpful. And if you have other questions or anything, feel free to give me a message or whatever. All right, take care.